You know what? That looks way better.
So
I was all cocky because I'm like, okay, I got the right screen up. I don't have us on the screen when I start the live feed.
Yeah.
I got the starting student board up.
Okay.
I've got our audio up. I feel good about myself. And then that little thing comes in the corner.
Well, it just shows that we still have stuff to strive for the final.
What game is it today?
It's game 75.
We are almost
Game
perfect.
75.
Almost
So
perfect.
close.
Game 75.
So close. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Check-In. I'm Sara Leski. He is Jamie Thomas. As you just heard, we are getting ready for game 75 of this season for the Winnipeg Jets as they have finished off that 4-game homestand and now hit the road for their next 3 games starting tonight in LA.
Man, was Vancouver pesky.
No volume.
We have volume.
Okay.
Has to be.
Okay.
Have to be.
Okay, maybe we do.
Yeah,
Great.
no, sorry. Yeah. So, hi guys. So we don't have any swag here because the swag comes from home games. We're trying to sell what's coming up. So, I mean, I do have the hats over to the side there, but they're not on sale anymore, I do believe. So that would be false representation. So I can't have that. Thank you, everybody. I'm glad we can hear us. Thank you. I love the support from everybody in this department. So,
Sup.
So we're talking about the Vancouver Canucks. They were pesky the other day, and when I had Dan Murphy on the show, they're trying to fight their way in the playoffs. And man, they have no Elias Pettersson. Like, it's a monumental task in front of them. And Quinn Hughes had another great game. They take a 1-0 lead. I'm like, okay, I think the Canucks is going to be a little more pesky than I expected them to be on the last game of a 6-game road trip.
Yeah.
Because remember when they came to Winnipeg on the last game of a long road trip, it was a Kyle Connor show, and it was over in the first period.
Right, in the first period, that hat trick.
So I just thought the Jets played a very patient game, and that was the best part of it. They didn't try to push for offense. They weren't leaving their game. They were only down 1 goal, and with the firepower that they have, they kind of understand that. But this is the whole thing about this team. It's just like they know eventually they're going to find a way to get through. And Thatcher Demko, to his credit, was playing very well too. But the other guy at the other end, Connor Hellebuyck, was unreal, 24 saves. But there's many things to look at outside of the Cole Perfetti goal, which was phenomenal. So, we always have to come downstairs early. That's my problem. And I didn't see it live. I saw it on TV.
Yeah.
And that's the goal you want to see in the building from the press box vantage point, or even the corner, or even in the stands. So that's my only complaint about our job. And it's like a small one. But to miss a goal like that sucks. And I missed the Ovechkin goal the other night too. Because we're coming down for everything, but these are minor details. First world problems.
The
first world media problems.
I loved, I did a post-game interview with Mason Appleton afterwards, and I said, do you think Cole smiled after that goal? Because I'll give him such grief over not looking happy enough. And he goes, well, you would have thought so. Yeah. But no, Perfetti saying after the game, I didn't even know where it was going. I just tried to fire it on net.
Because Derek Forbort tripped him.
Yeah.
So again, there's more drama. He's like flying through the air, not Bobby Orr-like, but very similar. Not as big a game, but still, like, there's all these great proponents that you want to be able to see this live, and that's the best part of our job, is we get to see that. But that goal is unreal, and Mason Appleton scored earlier in the third period. He's got goals in back-to-back games, but they're 2 different goals. Mm-hmm. Mason Appleton's battling in front. He's like on his knees when he shovels that one to give the Jets the lead for the first time in the game, and then Cole Perfetti does the wonder goal too. So it was a great homestand. Started off not so great, but then they
played well in that game.
Yes,
they just
well, they got goalied.
They got goalied
as usual by James Reimer.
Yeah,
neither here nor there.
Yes,
but they get a huge win over Washington. The concern goes into the New Jersey game. You're going to be carry that over. They answered that bell, and they answered the bell again. So 3 different types of wins for them. And another thing too is like, you're so happy about that. You got 6 points for yourselves in Dallas, and then Dallas plays Seattle last night, and of course, no help.
Yeah,
from Dave Lowry and company.
Despite the request,
his own son on his birthday asked for some help, and nothing.
All right.
So Dave Lowry, shame on you.
Yeah, well, when you look at it now, so there's 4 points that continues to separate them. Is that right? 4 points up on Dallas. Dallas not playing tonight, having played last night. St. Louis is playing tonight. They have the possibility with a win tonight to be able to jump over Minnesota into that first wild card spot. So
Minnesota slowed down a little bit. So
they have,
the only
and St. Louis has not.
Yeah.
So jockeying for position still happening between those two. 10 games on the NHL schedule tonight. Great news. You can watch all 9 first.
Yeah.
Well, not quite
in case you wanted to.
That's right. Before you get to it, because you know that there's nothing that JT and I love more than a 9:30 start for it. So lots of coffee, but we are going to get you set over this next little bit for this game. We are also going to have Sean Reynolds join us from Sportsnet.
So tell everyone, Sean does a great job, of course, on Sportsnet, but he's on a special assignment right now. Yes. We were just talking about the length of this assignment that he's on. Well,
so Sean, of course, great work with Sportsnet, also does Kenny and Rennie show post-game for Winnipeg Jets. So we'll talk to him about Jets as well. But he is currently on the road covering Alexander Ovechkin and the quest to break the record. So 5 goals away is where Ovi is right now. And Sean is supposed to be with him until he breaks the record, which they are saying could happen.
9 games left.
9 games left. I mean, he could be on the road until the 17th of April. That is an incredibly long time. And we both said, not that, I mean, anyone would want to cover it.
Yeah.
You want to be there. And there's an energy around that is unlike anything else. But that is a really long time, because then you come back and you're right into the playoffs with the Jets.
Yeah.
So anyways, looking forward to hearing from Sean. Always look forward to being able to talk to him, not only about what he's doing with the OV chase, but then with the Jets as well.
Should we show let's go show the standings here just to show how fun it's been. It's like 4 points separating Dallas and Winnipeg. Both teams have played 74 games. And looking at the wild card situation, Calgary got a big win in Denver last night. They were down in the third period, got 2 goals from their fourth line, then 1 in a shootout. So they're 5 back of St. Louis. Vancouver starting to fade off a little bit after that loss here on Sunday. So it's extremely tight. And as you talked about, a win by St. Louis, and they leapfrog Minnesota for the first wild card spot. So either way, at this point, the playoffs start today. The Jets get a team from the Central Division.
Yeah. What a juggernaut the Central has been this year. Well, I'm looking. Busta Himes. It was an April Fool's joke.
Oh.
That we were muted.
Oh.
See, we didn't get it because so often we are muted.
Yes.
So it cut too close to home.
Yeah.
Looking forward to this game tonight, and I'm intrigued to see what style of game we're going to see. The Jets lost when they were in LA earlier this season.
Yeah.
When LA was here in January, LA came out with the overtime win. And that was a game that Scott Arniel said was the closest at that point that they had played to a playoff-like game. I mean, there was no room out there.
Yes.
It was so tight checking. And
LA dominated them there too. So
they did 4-1 the final, and both goals that the Jets have scored in this season series against LA have been on the power play. They haven't been able to score yet 5-on-5, and LA is dominant at home. They have the best winning percentage of any team on home ice. They've just set a new franchise record for it. But then you take the Jets that are playing the way that they are, being comfortable playing in different styles, have one of the top road records in the league. And there's a lot of similarities I find between these two teams.
Yeah. And the conversation was after the game on Sunday is that, they're going to be very patient. And Mason Apple described it. It's going to be a game that can be described as boring because two teams, it's going to be like a chess match.
Right.
They're not going to make mistakes defensively. So that's what you're going to have. It won't have the excitement of the Washington game. But that's the way that's LA's been kind of boring for a while.
Yeah.
But this year they've locked down. Again, we've gone over many times the Darcy Kemper trade that's worked out for both sides with Washington for Pierre-Luc Dubois. But Darcy Kemper has been unreal in that odd 1-for-1 deal that happened in the offseason. Many had an eyebrow raised on that one, but it's just worked out so well. And LA has currently holding that home ice advantage with the Edmonton Oilers. The two teams will play, looks like, again in the first round. And if you're Edmonton, you have to be a little concerned. Previous 2 years, I was like, there's no way they lose to LA. This year.
Yeah, it's been a different sort of year. And you're still waiting for people to come back from injuries when it comes to the Oilers as well. All right. As mentioned, last time these two teams played, Scott Arniel described it as an absolute grind. That was also the game, if you remember, that they honored Connor Hellebuck beforehand.
Yeah.
Dylan Sandberg's first game back after missing so many with the foot injury. So I'll be intrigued to see what style we see tonight. LA this season, we talked about a lot, especially in the first meeting, about how they had switched their style through the neutral zone. You know, they were known before for playing that 1-3-1 style, but really switched it and are much more aggressive this year. But I think still do a great job of clogging up that neutral zone.
Not much room at all. So it's just the Jets will have to, again, play the patient game and wait. And this is a style clearly that they're comfortable in. So it's not like they're going in there blind and will get uncomfortable if things get tight. So it's just they're going to have to wait and see how that looks. But I just saw a question about baby comms number 2. We haven't had any word on that one.
We have not.
So I think Chris Drieger has been called up.
Just
in case that happens, then comms can go home.
Yeah, he did make the trip with the team.
So we have that part.
We know that. But here's the other problem with it being out west, and so you know from watching us throughout the season, is that with the 2-hour time change, right now, the Winnipeg Jets have not gone onto the ice yet. So we don't know if there are any changes. The Jets did bring some additional reinforcements on the road.
Jared Anderson-Dolan as well. So, I mean, it's going to be 2 games, very physical. So you want to make sure you're covering your bases just in case somebody gets hurt.
Yes, because if we didn't go through, if for some reason you don't remember, it's LA tonight. It is Vegas on Thursday, and then Utah on Saturday before they come home.
So you're very physical games. Vegas has won 6 in a row. They're starting to roll at the right time of year. Are we surprised?
No, of course not.
No. More on them a little bit later. But Sarah and I saw this the other day too. People asking where the question of the day is. So Sarah was asking, we're going to talk about the Hart Trophy here for a little bit. So I just want to ask anybody, hold on a second. Usually when I say show banner, it's going to go. There we go. Do you think goaltenders should be eligible to win the Hart Trophy?
Eligible, yes, of course. Should be allowed, but we don't see many goaltenders.
Let me fix that.
We don't see many goaltenders win the Hart, and obviously, with the season that Connor Hellebuck has continued to have, it becomes, we thought early on how impressive it was
in the conversation to win the Hart Trophy.
Sure, however you want to phrase that. Okay. You just. Let's see what
I like creative control sometimes.
There you go.
But,
but you just think about how he is. It's not just how he started, but how he's finishing as well right now. I mean, just the body of work this season has been incredible, and I think it goes that everyone. I was listening on 32 Thoughts the other day that when they were talking about who should win the Vezina.
Yeah.
And they said, I mean, do we really even need to discuss this? They would take 37 seconds to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because that one seems like a virtual lock for Hellebuck. But we've heard the MVP chants here.
Yeah, last 2 games.
In the last 2 games, he has talked about how appreciative he is of it. He has made those, even when he hasn't been particularly challenged in terms of quantity of shots.
Yeah.
He has been there and stood the test with the quality and made the saves when he needs to. And you look at the job that he has done. I don't know how, when you think of the Hart, the most valuable player to your team, not the best player in the league, the most valuable player to your team. And I would argue that as much depth as the Winnipeg Jets have, this Jets team would not be first in the league and fighting for President's Trophy and everything if it was not for Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah, and here's another thing too is not only he's up to 43 wins now. There's not many guys have done this multiple times. He had 44 wins in 17-18, 43 wins this year. You would think he's going to get past 44 to set the franchise record too as well. But I have to think leading in all the stat categories that he is. Mm-hmm. That is another part. Carey Price, the last one to do that, and that was when he was the last goaltender to win the Hart Trophy in 14-15. So I think you're now looking 10 years later.
And he's doing, and his numbers and what he's leading in are more than what we saw with Carey Price. I mean, we haven't seen this. I want to say we just had it on the TSN broadcast. Craig Button and I were discussing, I think it's Bernie Perrant was the last one that had led in as many categories as what.
Because it's like shutouts, save percentage, goals against average, wins, and it's not even close in wins.
Yeah,
there's a big gap between that. It's a little tighter in goals against average and save percentage because of Darcy Kemper, and of course Vasilevsky in Tampa Bay. But here's the thing: it's just like what he's doing, and you look no further than after Mason Appleton had made it 2-1, Vancouver had a push.
Mm-hmm.
And he just makes it look so easy. And it's just like even the media, we've stopped asking about his performance.
Well, because what more are you really going to say about it?
Yeah.
Like we've heard it all before, but you look at the front runners, the Nathan McKinnons, I think that Nikita Kucherov will probably get, if you look at his, he's fighting there, at least at the very top with McKinnon, obviously Leon Draisaitl as well. So, but I think that when you look at what the definition again of the Hart Trophy is, I don't know how you don't look at him as being certainly one of the front runners for it.
There you go. Jacques Blount, Dominic Hasek, and Jose Theodore are the only ones that have done it, both winning the Hart and Vezina Trophy one. Thanks, Aristeel, for that fun fact. Fun facts are always appreciated here on the check-in. I even think, so I'll go back to, you point out Jose Theodore. That same year, Jerome McGinley was in the conversation. I remember this. And then that was like that whole West-East bias had gone because McGinley had just such a tremendous year. And that's not just because a guy from Calgary saw that. But Jose Theodore also had a great year that year. But I thought that year, Jerome McGinley won the Hart Trophy.
No
offense. No disrespect. No disrespect. So don't forget, Sean Reynolds will be joining us here momentarily from Boston. That's where the Washington Capitals are right now, as Alexander Ovechkin does his best to break Wayne Gretzky's all-time goals record before the end of the season.
Yeah, 9 games left for them. Certainly
5 goals.
Certainly impressive. Someone I see asking, Ethan asking.
You are the real MVP. When you come to work sick.
Well, that's it. Ethan just asked, are you sick?
Oh, yeah. I've seen this a lot in the question line. She is 100% sick.
So yesterday we had.
You should have heard her on
we had our meeting.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was actually.
You think he gives me a hard time on this show? You should have heard him in the meeting. I believe my voice was 10 times worse.
Yeah.
And all kept hearing was, after everyone did the, ooh, there's JT. Talk more. Let's hear it again,
Sarah.
Sarah.
More questions. Ask Sarah
Sarah
more
needs
questions.
to talk more.
We need to hear her voice.
So here is what I tried yesterday, though, just as we go off on a different path for a moment, that I found out, here I am in my mid-40s, finding out just now that there's apparently a remedy that my family believes in.
Okay. But, it's one thing to believe in the remedy, but does the remedy work?
Well, that's what it's up for debate right now. But I feel like I'm leaning in the direction of yes. So I found out from a cousin that apparently aunt's grandmother on my father's side believed that Bics hot banana rings.
Yeah.
I don't know if it specifically has to be Bics, but this is what I was told. That if you take a shot of the juice, it's supposed to help. Okay. So
you tried it?
Of course I did. I went out and bought. It actually wasn't bad. I really like spicy stuff. Okay. So fire. But tried it. I woke up this morning and I thought, this really works. And then it's kind of, I didn't take another shot. No, maybe I should have. But if any of you have any remedies, hey, please feel free to pass them on.
Brody, good question. Remove Draisaitl, remove Helly. Which team suffers the most? There's no question.
100%. I think that's where the argument is, that people, when you hear outside voices from outside this market, that the comment that they always make is, oh, but you look at the talent that the Jets have in front of them. You look at the Scheifeleys and the Connors. Okay, great. But that doesn't take away. They have cleaned things up defensively compared to what we've seen before. But I think still, if you look at some of those advanced analytics and that he still is the saves above expected.
Yes, expected saves above average or something like that. Yes.
He's still leading the way.
There's like a long way. He's a long ways ahead.
Long ways away. And I just think that it's not just because he has been their MVP for years now.
Right.
But what he is doing is that he is elevated again. He is doing this at a level consistently throughout this entire season that we have not seen. And to me, he is very easily in that 1-2 when it comes to Hart.
Oh, I like this. My voice is just as bad today. I'm drinking liters of honey tea. It gets me through everything in it, even though I hate honey.
Okay.
I've heard that one before. That's authentic. Also, so every year we have at least one player with 50 goals. Not as impressive anymore. What Helly has accomplished is impressive. So
agreed.
I love all you guys. Oh, here's another one. Apple cider vinegar, 1 spoon, and gargle.
Okay. Well, we're going to find out on Thursday. I'm going to try maybe all of these out. Just take videos.
You should bring each one up here.
I'm going to take videos, and that's what we will show on Thursday.
That is content. That is a reason to tune in to the check-in on Thursday.
Isn't that the truth?
I agree.
All right.
You know who, hey, right on time too.
All right. Of course he is. Because he's a professional.
He is a professional. And only professionals get to cover the great chase. He is Sean Reynolds from Sportsnet. Sean.
Really? You guys are giving me the professional thing? We all know that's not true, okay? So rule number one, journalism, don't lie to your audience. I'm not a professional. We all know that. So let's just call a spade when we need to. You know?
All right. Well, in that case, Sean, that's some pretty sweet hair that you got going on right now.
I came straight from the gym. I took all my self-restraint not to put the headband on before I came on. But yeah.
Hey, before
gotta mash what you can into the day, you know?
Yeah. Before we get into the meat of this whole conversation, tell me what the conversation was like when you talked to your wife about this assignment that you don't know when you're coming home. How did that go?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think to a degree, my wife is a very structured, settled person. You guys have seen me at work before. You've heard my cameraman talk about me. I'm chaos, right? So we're a good balance of yin and yang, but sometimes stable lockdown gets some time without chaos, and it's pretty nice, right?
Yes.
So, I think what it always starts out like, okay, you'll be on the road. That's fine. I can batten down the hatches. I can get everything settled, get out the label maker and start organizing everything around the house without you messing it all up. And then after a while, it kind of sinks in because, it's like, are you coming home yet? No, not coming home yet. And then by the end of it, I'm fairly certain she misses me, but she could use a break. Let's be honest.
That's the whole thing. I don't think they missed you, but they don't want to tell you they missed you. Like they give you little hints, but there's not the verbal.
Whatever makes you two feel better.
I haven't heard I miss you in quite some time. So, all right.
Okay, Sean, what's it like doing this chase? I mean, we were talking about it earlier on in our show, saying that, you're on the road and you're following this until he breaks the record,
right?
Which I know you're looking forward to. We said we would have been as well, just the opportunity to be able to cover history. But give us an idea of what it's like for you in these early days, because you could be on the road for another couple weeks.
Yeah, I was just having the conversation with one of the folks on the Capitals broadcast, and I was fairly certain that he was going to break it this year. And now it's funny to say because he scored in his last game, but I'm kind of back to thinking it would be pretty audacious for him to, score 5 more goals in the end of the year where, scoring should be hardest towards playoffs and all the teams that you're facing are desperate. And it's clear. I mean, if you saw him in Winnipeg, the Jets gave him no space. That's how it was with the Minnesota Wild. That's how it was with the Buffalo Sabres. They're getting these power play opportunities and they're just saying, let's play 4-on-3. Wherever Ovi goes, this guy's just going to stand right with him. So it's been interesting to see, the idea of like, can he do it in the allotted amount of time that's left? And yet he just keeps surprising you. And the funny thing is, I don't know what the two of you saw, but in that game against the Jets, I mean, we all know what they are: fast, hard checking, really great detailed team. Same thing with the Washington Capitals. And then every once in a while you'll look out and Ovi will be on the ice and he'll be borderline standing still.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And everyone is just buzzing around him and he's just kind of standing there. And the first couple times I saw it, it stands out so much. And you're almost tempted to think the game's passed him by and that it's a little bit of he's just a pure goal scorer. And yet the last game he factored in on 3 goals. And he's just, I mean, you saw it in Winnipeg. He ties up that game with a fraction of an inch of space.
Yeah.
He's just still so dangerous. And the one thing that he's doing when he's kind of parking himself on the ice is he's just going and finding that spot to be dangerous. And the Capitals do a really good job of working around that. So he's like, he's that special weapon that you have. And can he skate the way he used to? No. Is he as fast as he used to be? No. But he can still score with the best of the best in the game. And it's been fascinating to see the balance that the Caps have struck to be a very defined team where he doesn't necessarily fit that definition the way he plays, and yet what he still does is massive and important to them, and they've found a way to make it work.
Hey, you're on the beat right now. When does the NHL start coming around and following around Ovi on this one? I'm talking about Wayne Gretzky and, of course, Gary Bettman.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question. Yeah. I mean, I think that, like, hey, it could be, they play tomorrow, right? I got to hop on a plane and I got to fly to Raleigh after this. If he scores 3 tonight, the answer is probably tomorrow. I would guess it's when he gets within, 2 of tying the record. So I guess that's 2 more goals. Because, hey, no one knows better than Gretzky, 50 goals in 39 games. And what did he do, Jamie? He scored 4 in that 39th game?
It was 5 against the Flyers, yeah.
There you go.
So a lifelong Flyers fan, I remember that very well.
I would have thought you'd be on the other side of that ledger.
No. I did not like the Oilers growing up. So.
Well, that's why you're comfortable in Winnipeg.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's right. So I had a lot of things in common when I moved here. So, it's so exciting that this is happening. And I just was very curious to see when the great one was going to start falling. I wanted Ovi to be near the record when they came here, because anytime you get to have Gretzky around, it's fantastic.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of Jets fans I know that I talked to were bracing with that game on the calendar, because we know Ovi's history of, hitting significant marks, or a lot of players hitting significant marks against the Winnipeg Jets. And I think people were worried that would happen. I've never thought that was a bad thing, right? Like if you're on the ice when that happens, I never look at, when Gretzky set that record and he was on the ice against the Oilers, I was never like, stupid Oilers, they let him get that record, right? It's going to happen somewhere along the line, and we all know he can score.
But would you want to be, say, the goaltender?
That's the thing. So here's
that it's replayed over, and over and over.
Yeah, then you live forever. I mean, no one's looking and saying that guy sucks. It's not like getting posterized in basketball, right? Where the guy like totally humiliates you. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, there you go. You showed up on that. You keep showing. It'll keep some people relevant. There's a lot of guys out there who played and
that's how I hope you sell it. Whenever he breaks this record, that's how I hope you sell it to the opposing team. Hey. You know what? It keeps you relevant.
Yeah.
Just saying.
If 50 years from now, when no one knows who you are, you're going to pop up in this video, and it's going to be great.
And then Ovi could say, "You're welcome." You're in the Hockey Hall of Fame as well. Here's the competitive side of things. You've already talked about how guys are like just standing around him on the power play to make sure that one-timer doesn't happen. The competitive side of teams, no matter where they are in the playoff race, you have to be, you just in that conversation, you don't want to be the team that gives up that goal, period.
Yeah. And I mean, again, everyone comes in with that plan. It's like, Jamie, I know you're a baseball guy, so you'll remember when Barry Bonds was trying to break that record, like how often in that last season he just got walked, right? Yes. And how upset, fans would be, and people were just like, no, we're not going to contribute to this. This is, you can see that same attitude exists in the teams that are playing. You saw it from the Jets. Like I think the Jets were as surprised as anyone that he scored in that game. The way that they'd played, the way they'd shut him down, they defended him perfectly that game. It goes to show you he's still at that stage where it doesn't need much for him to do it. But you've got it's clear that teams are still game planning for him, and it's kind of what makes this special. Like I said last game, and I did a breakdown afterwards on this, but this isn't like a past his prime guy chasing a mark. Like, hey, me, Jamie, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. I remember
Emmett Smith was brutal when he became the all-time leading rusher.
And he's wearing an Arizona Cardinals jersey, right? And it was like, it just looked weird. And it was like, okay, you can retire now, like you can move on. And those guys, this isn't what this is. Like, he still is right in the heart of it. And even though, like I said, a lot of times it looks like a bunch of bees skating around, something that's someone who's not moving that fast. He still, that last game against Buffalo, if you go back and rewind his last goal, right before he scores the goal, he almost scores a goal, like within 5 seconds of that. Like he is pure goal scorer as it goes, but he does so in a way where it's not just like, it's not all he can do, but he does it so well. It is still such a massive tool.
Okay, so I presume you are still going to be with Kenny tonight.
Oh, yeah.
And Rennie. I don't know how. That's just adding to it all.
Overtime.
So a Pacific time zone game.
I know.
Then you're in the Eastern time zone. You have to fly tomorrow as well, but you're doing your Kenny and Rennie post-game show, which is a must listen to always. What are you looking to see maybe quickly in this game? What are you expecting to see in this game tonight between the Kings and Jets?
You know what? I've just got to the point with the Jets where there's almost nothing more than I need to see from them. And the reason I say that is because they've just so many times. So right now, Spencer Carberry, I just chatted with him. The Capitals have lost 3 straight games, and he's out loud saying, like, we need to find our motivation. We're not motivated right now, right? Like, no one's chasing them. They don't have the Dallas Stars 4 points behind them in the rearview mirror. And I don't get the sense that they care that much about the President's Trophy. So this is a team, the last 3 games that, they played the Jets. I think they came off the high of that really, really good game. We saw the same thing with the Jets after they played Dallas, right? They came off the high of that game, and then they kind of slumped a little bit after that. So I think we're in the middle of them seeing that slump, and they're trying to get back into that. But that said, that little slump that we saw from the Jets, we really haven't seen much of that from them this season. I'm amazed. I marvel at how focused this Jets team is and how able they are when the moment calls for them to have a good game, they have a good game. And when they're having an off game, it's the kind of off game that a huge chunk of the teams around the league would kill for that to be their on game, right? Yeah. Because they're just so structured and they're with it. So, I mean, what am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for them to go up against a Los Angeles Kings team that was, really tough the last time they played them in their barn. We all know the LA Kings are monsters in their barn. So maybe the Jets can add, just another little tick of confidence in there if they can walk away from this game. But for the most part, I mean, I think it's all coming down to trying to, stay ahead of the Dallas Stars. They can't really let it slide. But that said, I fully don't expect that from this team. This team has shown time and time again, its maturity, I think, is beyond reproach. Its ability to hit the high notes, like I said, or generate the kind of game that they want to try and generate is remarkable. And that's not easy to do. We all know from covering this team over the years, there's a lot of times in the years past, we've covered this team that has been great teams, and they'll come out in a game and they just won't be there. And you'll be like, where'd they go? Right. But that's competitive sports. It's not easy to get to the top of your game all the time. So for me, I just look at this Jets team and, playing down the stretch here, they've just answered all the questions. It's a team that I am very confident that, and hey, the question always comes to the playoffs. I think the last couple of years, them losing 8 straight and then winning 8 straight going into the playoffs, there was a little bit of a sign in there that the Jets could be hot and cold, right? Yeah. They ended up getting cold in the playoffs, and then they're out, and everyone's wondering why this keeps happening. Well, that really hasn't happened to the Jets this year. There's one stretch of hockey I didn't like. It was that California trip earlier on in the year where I thought they weren't playing their game. They were getting a little fancy, and they were going away from what makes them good. But the Winnipeg Jets, I think, know their identity better than any team in the league, hit that identity more often than any team in the league. I think it bodes well for them.
Buddy, appreciate the time. Here's a guess. I'm going to throw this out there. He does it Friday against Chicago. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Friday at home.
Holy smokes. Okay.
Okay.
Mama, I'm coming home. You heard that. Laura, Jamie gave you the Jamie guarantee. So
she's coming home Saturday.
I'll see you Saturday, baby.
See you Saturday, direct flight into Winnipeg, triumphant return. I covered the greatest goal scorer of all time. Boom. Put it on my resume.
Right.
See you, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Sean.
See you, pal. Sean Reynolds joining us from Boston.
Don't forget, after the game tonight, you can watch the Kenny and Rennie show. You can also listen to them in podcast form as well. I saw a couple people say that they were it's what's going to get them through work. Yeah, is being able to listen to it. So always great to be able to get a recap of the game and their perspectives on it. And we thank Sean so much for taking a few minutes with us and what is a very busy schedule for him right now.
All right. Well,
All right.
Winnipeg Sports Talk's ready to take it from here.
So-
They're already going.
Yes. So we are going to get going.
Yes.
So that you guys can all get over there as well. We love to see so many of you in the chat. I think it's great. We'll have a lot to talk about for Thursday's show, 12:30 Central, because we'll take a look back at this game. Maybe we'll talk about some other things. I'd like to see how many of you are involved in the chat. Though maybe Jamie will come up with another great question.
Somewhere along the line. Then have to reword it halfway through. And maybe we'll have a perfect show on Thursday. We have no idea who the guest will be on Thursday either. So there's that.
Yeah. There's so much intrigue for Thursday's show. Yeah. You do not want to miss it.
We're not going to preview it. Just tune in. There'll be a
12:30 Central. Yeah. We'll see you then. Thanks so much for checking in today. Have a great day.
Bye now.